Do you remember Cell Juniors? Yeah, those Cell Juniors. That was bullying Ascended Super Saiyans? What if I told you in the Dragon Ball Super manga, apparently some Cell Juniors exist on this island that Android 17 likes to protect, and they fought Goten and Trunks. Android 17 has gotten so strong over the years that even though these things were beating up Ascended Super Saiyans, Android 17 at the time wasn't Ascended Super Saiyan level, but he tamed them, letting you know his power increased. Oh, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me not jump to this so fast. Technology. Personally, I love technology. Matter of fact, that's the reason why I'm able to make this video for you guys. It's a big part of society. And the same goes for fictional universes like Dragon Ball, for example. They incorporate technology in their universe as well. Technology is a big reason why some characters are ridiculously strong. Like the different androids in Dragon Ball, I want to talk about Android 17 in particular for this video. You got smart people like Bulma and her dad, their company known as Capsule Corp that builds incredible things. Of course, you got good guy geniuses or good people geniuses, but then you got bad guy geniuses like Dr. Gero, for example, who has his own set of artificial humans. He's had plenty that failed in the past. One of the ones that were considered successful and some of the strongest ones was Android 17, 18 Cell, blah, blah, blah. Some have their strengths and their weaknesses. Like some androids are like literally full mechanical, but then some incorporate. Some are like cyborgs like Android 17 and 18. On some cyborg stuff from DC Comics type stuff. Despite him being labeled a cyborg or an android, when they was going over the blueprints in this particular situation, Bulma and her dad, they talked about how this guy's amazing, and they talk about how the human is the base, but just about everything has been enhanced with bioorganic components. Matter of fact, Bulma and her dad can't really understand the work of Dr. Gero that good. That's how you know how smart Dr. Gero is making these androids. I mean, they're beings that used to be humans, so they're not just pure evil machines. When their programming no longer had any purpose, of course, because they're androids, they just wanted to live life. Same with, 18 and things of that such. So they're very complex characters. Android 17 is too. But how strong are we talking when it comes to Android 17? I think we all can agree saying he has super strength is an oversimplification. He has super strength physically, and just like most characters in this show, he can produce energy blasts, and an energy is of him using different kind of blasts. Even rapid fire blast. Everything about him seems to be super enhanced, even his hearing. Well, apparently he can't read chi, so you can kind of hide from him, one could say. He can self-destruct without needing to necessarily kill himself, though. Barrier. He can use to enhance his already crazy durability. He can also create multiple barriers. Even though he makes one barrier, he can keep on making them, like, layered. Just like Android 18, one of the things that makes him so dangerous is that Dr. Gero is completely brilliant because he somehow gave them infinite stamina because of the infinite energy reactor or whatever. One could theorize this is the reason why he can actually improve his strength over time at an extremely fast rate. Let me talk about the barriers again. He can actually put a barrier around his fist to help power up his punching power. When we say super strength, I legit mean super strength to the point where he can break handcuffs. I mean, when it comes to speed, that's a given. He's strong and fast enough to deflect gunfire. Obviously, it's nothing when it comes to strength and speed. In later sagas, I'm going to get into deeper later on in the same vid. Tossing away normal humans with his regular strength, messing up their vehicles with his strength. This armored vehicle, for example, he wrecked with basically one hit. He's got the super strength to bend a gun barrel, obvious type strength feats. There's this Tournament of Power. Yeah, I'm going to go over Tournament of Power stuff later on in this vid. Just a little glimpse of his little strength feats here. Like, y'all ain't nothing to Android 17. Y'all too slow, get punched. Eliminated that easily with his raw strength. They try to get revenge on him. In the manga version, Android 17 blocks it. Even roast him, saying there's nothing impressive about this universe. Gets behind him, you get sent flying downward. He has super strength to the point where he can punch hard, and their blasts are similar because when energy blasts are used against him, he can physically hit them away without really needing to use energy projection. So I'm just getting this stuff out the way early in the video, so whenever you see them do something punching-wise when it comes to strength and their overall power, it also relates to their blast power, kicks, and all that good stuff. Bruh is a savage, because even if you're his creator, he will kick your head off literally with strength or kicking power, strikes. One could say there's like two different versions of Android 17. Think of it like this. You got this timeline version of Android 17, you got the main timeline of Android 17. This particular timeline up here with the older Trunks, for example, Android 17 was weaker and was still pretty strong, but it's confirmed that the one in this timeline down here is actually stronger. So whatever this Android 17 can do in this version down here can do better when it comes to the timeline and strength. So whatever feats I show for the future version of Android 17 from the alternate future, Android 17 and the main one can do that. Like, it's literally confirmed that the main timeline version of him is actually stronger than the ones in the future, and even the future ones could mess up Super Saiyans pretty bad, even confirmed without even using half his power. I mean, these are literal joke feats. So of course he can punch through concrete walls and can punch Super Saiyans so hard they go through entire building. This is not the only time I'll bring up Super Saiyans when it comes to comparing Android 17's power in this video. But you want to get into his true strength. He's gotten in a couple fights with this being known as Piccolo. One of the first fights that was really short. Beings like Piccolo have enough blast power. Back in the day when he was a lot weaker, he could still blast entire moons away to the point where I'm talking about it's vaporization type stuff. And we've seen Android 18 pull up on beings like Piccolo. This same moon busting being known as Piccolo gets curb stomped badly by Android 17 to pretty much show the power gap. So it's pretty obvious his striking power is on the moon shattering punching power level. Effortlessly, might I add. And super strong humans like Tien, he can actually put them on hold too and make them sleepy. But this isn't the true scope of his might. The true way to get a true scope of his might is analyzing Saiyans like Vegeta, who has gotten stronger throughout his career, but even early parts of his career, his blast power still can destroy the entirety of planet Earth. Then he has transformations that multiply his power by 50, like Super Saiyan. Like, there's a lot of different Super Saiyans that are similar in power, like Super Saiyan Trunks, for example. They just got these little base form Super Saiyans as number. Whether it's the past or future, Super Saiyan Trunks gets hit so hard and kind of goes sleepy a little bit, or he's acting drowsy. Even Krillin's like, one hit, that's a freaking Super Saiyan. So Super Saiyan can blast apart planets 50 times over at this point. But that's still not it, because you got to remember, beings like Frieza, who are ridiculously strong, can blast planets apart in his base form, but then this being has multiple transformations that can increase his power by the factor of over 200 times, based on the numbers right here about how much his power level increased in his final form. That gives you an idea of how much past planet busting he is. If he can planet bust in a form like this, then he multiplies his power by over 200. That means he's over 200 times planet shattering levels of raw power output. And when it comes to Super Saiyans, this makes Android 17 look more impressive because this being is over 200 times planet shattering level. And when he tries to beat a Super Saiyan with one of his mightiest attacks, he quite literally trolls effortlessly. He catches this over 200 times planet busting level blast and is walking with a planet busting blast that's way over planet busting at this point. And guess what? Android 17 can hit so hard with his fist to make Super Saiyans go night-night. Even mentioned on panel about how much Trunks is staggered. You also got to remember, whatever Android 18 can do, Android 17 can do better. It's even confirmed in their lore that despite them being similar, Android 17 and 18, his was actually focused on power. So yeah, she's strong is in her own right, but he's legitly focused on power. Base standard Super Saiyans are nothing compared to them at this point. So not only can he punch moons apart, he could punch Earth itself apart. Matter of fact, he could punch Earth apart over 200 times over, matter of fact. So he's way past earth-shattering levels of power. Since we know he can punch Earth apart, there's an argument to be made that he can punch one of these bigger planets apart if he really had to. Okay, let's talk about it some more. Remember how a little bit earlier, just a tad bit earlier, I actually talked about him fighting Piccolo and Piccolo can blow away the moon, right? What if I told you Piccolo's way past planet shattering level 2 when it comes to durability, strength, and everything? Because this Piccolo that Android 17 did this to got in a slugfest with second form Frieza. I hope you're not tired of me bringing up Frieza, but Frieza in this second form is at least double the strength of himself in his first form, which is already a planet buster. And we know Android 17 is stronger than Frieza and Piccolo at this point. So of course, we know Frieza is way over planet busting level. We've seen Piccolo literally swipe his energy blast away with his hands. And this is what Android 17 did to this Piccolo. One shot. Piccolo can hit planet busting attacks away and blast with that kind of force. His body can withstand that kind of force. It's a common thing in Dragon Ball to see characters use energy blast, and characters always deflect attacks from here and there. Android 17 is no exception. We've literally seen him grab certain attacks with his physicals without needing to use energy to counter energy. So he obviously has the raw blast power or striking power to blast away the Earth. It's just obvious at this point. Him and Piccolo got like a little rivalry going on. We know he already showed you in this video of him one-shotting Piccolo, right? But Piccolo kind of got a power up like crazy because he kind of fused with his other half that's been separated for all these years and gained a ridiculous amount of power to the point where he's not just Piccolo no more. He's Piccolo and his other half, Kami. Planets and stars vary in size. Since we know Super Saiyans are leagues above Earth-shattering level, one could say he could destroy some bigger planets or even possibly the sun. One could say, depending on how you look at it, since we know there's so many times past Earth-shattering level, one could say they could even blast away small stars at this point, which could low-key mean, since we know for a fact he surpassed Super Saiyans, one could say 17 could blast away small stars too. Oh, by the way, it's literally confirmed that Piccolo has surpassed the Super Saiyan, and yeah, one could say these attacks Piccolo's hitting Android 17 with are star shattering, or they feel like a star smashing onto your face or something, and Android 17's taking an assault from him and can still get back up even after this blast. That one could say pretty much leveled half an island. Even after this drastic power-up, it's not a mismatch. Even when Piccolo does all these energy blasts, we know how crazy Dragon Ball character's blast power is. His energy barriers, which I brought up earlier, he can protect himself with, of course. They can withstand attacks on a Piccolo that's on this level, and it can be the shockwave or blast radius can be seen from somewhere else. And he was able to withstand all of this without breaking the barrier itself. He can still do damage to him, even though he can't one-shot him like he could before, though. A lot of people consider this one of the best fights between characters in Dragon Ball Z. They're evenly matched, stated when it comes to strength by Android 18. It's not often when you see 17 admit somebody's his equal in power. See, here's the thing. He's one of those characters that doesn't have as much screen time as everybody else, but in Dragon Ball Super, I would say it gives him love. But there was this other android, you guys probably already know the story. He was meant to absorb 17 and 18, actually succeeded in doing so. Yeah, he got messed up, but yeah, he eventually got more screen time later on, because let's talk about it. You know how in Dragon Ball Z, there's different sagas, the heroes that we know and love, like Goku, get new forms with new sagas. They just keep getting stronger as much time goes by. So naturally, knowing this about the main characters, to keep him relevant, they can't have him at the same power level he was back during this saga, but instead, even though he wasn't really involved in this saga, he appeared in a newer saga known as the Dragon Ball Super events, for example, and we got to see how much he's changed after 10 years apparently was training off screen and has gotten stronger as time goes by, apparently. To really give you an understanding of how strong he's gotten over the sagas, think about Cell, for example. The reason why Cell was even strong is because Android 17 got absorbed into him, and then he went through a metamorphosis, and these are the different appearances Cell got when he absorbed both these androids. I can't believe I'm saying this, but it's actually hard to believe that even though this being has Android 17 in him, Android 17 by himself eventually gets to the point where he surpassed Cell that had himself absorbed and his sister absorbed at the same time. He eventually surpassed this ultimate android. Crazy, right? You guys already know the different stages of Super Saiyan. You know, you got base form. I'm just using Vegeta as a random example when it comes to Saiyan transformations right fast. Super Saiyan, Super Vegeta, that one could say Ascended Super Saiyan, which is better than the normal Super Saiyan. You got the super bulked up form we never really seen him use because he knows that's not smart to use because it's slow. Then you got the Super Saiyan 2. Android 17 was somewhere in between when it comes to power levels between these Super Saiyan levels. Like right in the middle of Super Saiyan 1 and the Ascended Super Saiyan. He was way stronger than the Super Saiyan base form Super Saiyan, but he's not as strong as an Ascended Super Saiyan. Or he was not as strong as this or this. But in the future, he actually surpasses this. In this time period, of course, surpasses this. And even surpasses this. Because 10 years later, there was this Monster Island, of course, and some Pseudo Cell Juniors. They're confirmed to be as strong as the original Cell Juniors. Apparently, they must not get stronger over time, thank goodness. Matter of fact, it proves that they were strong because Goten and Trunks had to go Super Saiyan to even fight them. This kind of lets you know how strong Android 17 has become because originally he wasn't Ascended Super Saiyan level at all, but he surpassed it, but he tamed them, and he taught them to never defy the Rangers. You know, this Rangers logo that Goten and Trunks have on so they know to obey them. So he made some astronomical power jumps to surpass all of this. Android 17, even in the past, has been stronger than a base form Super Saiyan, for example, but not maxed out Super Saiyan, not a Super Saiyan 2. He wasn't on a level as a Super Saiyan 3, definitely not as strong as the divine form as red-haired or blue-haired Goku. It's pretty much proven on situations like this when Cell got like a crazy power-up from absorbing people and stuff. He one-shotted this same Piccolo that Android 17 was having major issues with. This is probably Cell in one of his weakest states of all time. He has no androids absorbed here. So naturally, Android 17 was no match for him either. So this kind of lets you know what the feats I'm about to show you. It gets kind of crazy when you think about how he can't even fight this version of Cell. When you think about him surpassing him in his final form, it's kind of an insane power up for him. Like, bruh is absolutely defenseless almost. There's also something worth noting too. In the events of Dragon Ball Super, there's some pretty decent changes when it comes to the manga versus anime itself. So I'm gonna show both in this video though. Since the manga and anime have such drastic changes, usually it's one for one. In this particular situation, one can argue there's literally two versions of Android 17 in Dragon Ball Super, the manga version and the anime version. Regardless of which version we're talking about, it's relevant for this video because both of them got astronomically stronger compared to his previous self regardless of it. Matter of fact, this point in the story, Goku has got ridiculously strong, even getting God Key, divine forms, red-haired, blue-haired states, Super Saiyan God form, Super Saiyan Blue form. And then they pretty much said that Android 17 has gotten stronger since he's last seen him. He's very powerful. Even going as far as saying if he was still our enemy, he'd be worried. For him to be worried knowing the fact that Goku has Super Saiyan God in blue forms, that's a lot to say about how strong Android 17's gotten. Let's analyze Android 17 and how strong he's gotten currently. Goku's gotten a lot of different forms. Let's analyze how strong, first of all, back in the day, how strong is our back in the day Super Saiyan 2? Okay, so right off gate, we know Cell in his perfect state, super perfect state, ended up achieving Super Saiyan 2 levels of power because he clashed with Gohan, and it was stated he could blow away the entire solar system with a blast. Goku has surpassed this saga version of Gohan, who actually won this colossal beam struggle with, and Goku, you know, of course, he ends up getting a Super Saiyan 2 form. Heck, he even gets a higher form than a form that can blow away the solar system. We know characters that are Super Saiyan 2 level can blow away an entire solar system with their blast power. Current Android 17, after 10 years since that arc, 17 got in a scuffle with Goku, right? In these newer events when he has all these new forms. Just keep this in mind real fast. You gotta remember, when a character in Dragon Ball uses the same form, you gotta remember that they're getting stronger over time. So this version of a Super Saiyan 3 is way stronger than the past Super Saiyan 3. That matters because they're 10 years apart. Why am I bringing up Super Saiyan 3? Android 17 is fighting a base form Goku here. Well, we literally see Goku power up to a Super Saiyan 2, and 17 is still holding his ground. This is crucial considering we know what Super Saiyan 2s can do. Even Super Saiyan 2s from 10 years ago can blow away the solar system. What can they do now? And the simple fact that Goku felt like he needed to pull out, in the Manga version at least, he thought he had to pull out Super Saiyan 3 against 17. That kind of lets you know that he has to be, one could say, a Super Saiyan 3 centric level character, at least a Super Saiyan 3 10 years in the future. So basically a Super Saiyan 3 years in the future, basically this 17 is giving him some issues. One could say he can give, based on his performance, blasting him here like this to a Super Saiyan 3, pulling out an energy blast, and Super Saiyan 3 looked kind of worried. It lets you know how strong he's got, even though this was like a little friendly sparring session. Kind of lets you know how much 17, when it comes to raw destructive output, has evolved. So it's fair to say at this point he has enough striking power to triple the entire solar system, even threaten it. Heck, even threaten multiple since he fought a Super Saiyan 3, even though it's a friendly session, that's still impressive. He had to go to that form. If his previous self can look in the Dragon Ball Super events, he would be proud about how much stronger he has become over time. Implying he could blast away multiple solar systems with his performance fighting against these different forms of a Super Saiyan, a current Goku Super Saiyan. I just can't see Goku pulling out a Super Saiyan 3 if he was still at his Android Saga arc levels of strength, right? Even landing a good hit on him here, when back in the day he couldn't even handle Cell in his first freaking form. Improvements, huh? So it's already wild even putting in perspective of him being as strong as a Super Saiyan 3, but in the anime it actually gets worse. We see him getting a slugfest with Super Saiyan Blue Goku, a divine state. This is a friendly sparring match, neither of them were going all out, but the fact that he's even able to somewhat hang with this Goku going in this level of power is absurd. Like, y'all, I know he probably ain't trying to kill Android 17, but a Super Saiyan Blue Kamehameha, and 17 just puts a barrier up that's strong enough to block this blast without flinching. He doesn't even have a grunt look on his face. This is crazy. Of course, in the anime version, of course. And just for those saying, oh, he's not Super Saiyan Blue level, well, both of them in this occasion wasn't going all out, but even if you don't want to say he's exactly equal to Super Saiyan Blue level, he doesn't have to be equal to this to be ridiculously powerful compared to every other thing I've showed you in this video. Even if we say he's not as strong as a Blue, and we just assume he's as strong as a red-haired Goku state, not even counting Super Saiyan Blue state, the red-haired state in itself is already crazy strong. I shouldn't have to remind you guys of this, but don't forget the power of Super Saiyan God Goku. When he was fighting Lord Beerus, you guys already know about the shockwaves that was about to put the universe in jeopardy. Their punches were that hard. Goku's punches in a weaker state than Super Saiyan Blue could do this. What can his blue form do? If his God form can already shake multiple universe-sized structures, aka the Dragon Ball macrocosm, you know how the Dragon Ball universe has multiple universe-sized structures within it, 5+ universes they can tremble with their punches, or put the universe in jeopardy. This would also mean Android 17, even if we don't want to count Super Saiyan Blue, even if we just assume he's only Super Saiyan Red level, which is nowhere near the level of Super Saiyan Blue, this would still be an impressive feat, having him match something like this, being on par with Super Saiyan God, something that can shake multiple universe-sized structures in the Dragon Ball universe or macrocosm. I will admit, even in the anime version, he's probably not as strong as a Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken times 20 though. Or if he is, we don't know for sure if he could be on that level. But even if you're going to say he can't shake multiple universe-sized structures, he has to be able to bare minimally move or tremble multiple galaxies. Being able to tremble or delete a galaxy or two with his blast power definitely seems fair compared to the God forms and stuff and how they can shake multiple universes. him being able to delete a couple galaxies, which is way smaller than universes, is definitely fair. This is the absolute minimum, right? If we assume he's not even Super Saiyan Red or Blue level, which he has to be at least a Super Saiyan Red level, when it comes to his destructive capacity or blast power or whatever, there's a few reasons why I believe he's in the ballpark of Super Saiyan Blue. Even if you want to say he's not equal, he's got to be somewhere in that ballpark. Because during this big tournament of power, we've seen other strong beings from other universes battle Super Saiyan Blue, like Top, getting slugfest with Super Saiyan Blue. 17 was actually caught in Top's grip during this tournament of power. He eventually broke free of this grip, though, during the time when Top was distracted for a bit. He took advantage of it. I mean, you got occasions like this when we're talking about his blast power. Top was in the middle of something. Android 17's blast affected him. And even when he does an energy volley against Top, he pushes him back. During this tournament of power, he actually does get in a beam struggle with this being that's Super Saiyan Blue level, Top. But there's implications that he's not able to straight up overpower him. This showing in particular could definitely prove that he's somewhere in between Super Saiyan God and Super Saiyan Blue level. Because Top just can outright blast him back with ease. 17 even talking about how impressive his energy is. Yeah, 17 actually did lose this beam struggle. But I think when it comes to his blast power, that means he's somewhere in between Super Saiyan God and Super Saiyan Blue, which is still impressive, meaning he can shake multiple universes still, you know, way above Super Saiyan 3, 2, and 1. This being Top is at least Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken times 20 level, aka Super Saiyan Blue evolution level. Android 17, this is where it stops. Android 17 isn't on this being's form's level right here. Because when 17 was spamming blast at him in this new form, he definitely was unaffected. Even when he gives it everything he has, Top in this new form, it's not doing nothing to him. But when we're strictly talking about Top's base form, Android 17's barriers or power in general can definitely block his attacks. Matter of fact, this universe in general had incredible fighters, not just Top, but the strongest of them was this being known as Jiren, who is above Super Saiyan Blue level. When you see him really go all out, we've seen him actually clash blows with this ridiculously mighty being known as Jiren. Jiren who's chilling and not going all out right here, of course. 17 has come far. We've seen him tackle Jiren. He pushed Super Saiyan Blue evolution Vegeta out of the way. Basically, Vegeta's version of Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken times 20, aka 20 times stronger than a normal Super Saiyan Blue. 17 would stud a kick that was meant for this same Super Saiyan Blue to let you know how much he can withstand with no barrier. And even when Jiren's guard is down, his blast power can actually damage Jiren's back. They even stated Jiren's wounded. When Jiren was blitzing at Android 17, he was healing all the energy at him. Jiren was still kinda pushing through the blast until 17 kinda started pushing him backwards. Like, even though it's confirmed that 17 has gotten a lot stronger, it's confirmed he's no match for Jiren. Like, Jiren going all out, of course. In the manga stuff, too. 17 even said there's no beating him in the head-to-head fight. Even 17 said there's no beating him in the head-on fight. You probably didn't expect Android 17 to get this strong. How strong do you think he is? Do you think he's at least Super Saiyan God level? Maybe not as strong as full-powered, like the manga version full-powered Blue? Or one could say anime version, he might not be on the level of a full-powered Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken times 20 Goku, but he's somewhere in that ballpark, if that makes sense, right? It's just too much intent for it. But I hope you guys enjoyed this presentation. You guys enjoying this stuff? Let me know. But before I get going, I got to say thanks for the donations, everybody. It helps out a lot. It really does. Respect Android 17. I'm glad you are enjoying your time on the channel. Make sure you check out the playlist on the channel to see other How Strong videos. If you like what this channel is offering, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys later.